Hello my friends, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all staying safe and healthy and enjoying your summer. In today's video, I have some updates to share with you all. I have been moving some plants around. I've repotted some plants and a lot of them have some new growth that I would like to share with you. I'm gonna try to move along fairly quickly because if I don't, I'm thinking this video could be super long. Once I'm finished with the living room area, I'll decide as to whether I want to make this video into two parts or whether I'll just be able to combine it into one video. So anyway, let's hop into this video and I'll show you what we've got going on here. Okay, so I guess we're just going to start on the left side of my living room. Let's see what we have going on over here. All the plants are doing really well. All of them have been putting on some crazy new growth. This is my Philodendron Brazil, and this one has gotten so much fuller within just the last month or so. This is one that I repotted, I think it was over the winter time, and it kind of took a while for it to dig its little feet into the soil, and now it is doing awesome. I'm getting lots of new growth on this baby, so super pleased about that. And if we come down here, I've moved my purple passion plant from my little table here over to this plant stand, and recently I repotted this one into this ceramic planter from a terracotta planter, and I've also pruned it back quite a bit as well. If we come up here to my bird of paradise, this one I need to, I think, figure out a different spot for it, an area that maybe gets a little bit less sun, because this one is starting to burn a little bit on the foliage. So I'm definitely going to be moving this one around, I think. For the time being, what I've been doing is my shades in the morning time when the sun wraps around to this east side of the house. I kind of keep the shades closed just a little bit until it moves around to the south side of the house, and that seems to be helping for now. This plant here, love it. This one is my Colocasia Thai Giant. This one is actually one of my husband's plants. We also have a Colocasia elephant ear that we've placed outside, and that one is doing really well right now. The leaves are a lot different than this guy. This one, the leaves are quite a bit rounder, and the one outside has more, it comes down to more of a point at the base of the leaf. So the shapes of the leaves are quite different between this Colocasia and the one that we've grown from a bulb, which I'll show you that either in this video or the second half of my updates. So this one is my Colocasia Thai Giant. Love that guy. The Ruby Ficus elastica. This is also another one that has just been putting in some crazy growth for me. Love this plant. Totally love this plant. I find myself staring at this plant in the evening time, and I just love how when the sun shines in, you can actually see the pink through the backs of the leaves. It is so, so pretty. In love with this one. Over here, my Ficus lyrata, my fiddle leaf fig. I recently repotted this guy. My husband and I repotted this one, and we repotted it into this large planter. I'm not quite sure whether it looks a little bit out of place with the other plants, but I think this planter is going to be perfect for this plant. The root ball was quite big. So far it seems to be enjoying this planter. So that's what we have going on here. If we move over to this area, here's my lemon lime Maranta, my green Maranta, Leucanora. And It's been doing all right. No issues. And then you guys know about my Thanksgiving cactus that I moved from the sun porch into the living room. This guy's still doing well. If we move over here, this is one of the spider plants that I repotted not long ago. Still putting off quite a few new babies. If we move over to the right side of my living room, this is my Alocasia poly. This one has been growing like crazy. There's 3 new leaves right here that this one has recently put out, these 3 here. And it's also got a little bloom for me as well. The key to this guy is, for one, right now I currently have it planted in a terracotta planter, and I let it dry down to about a 2 before I water it. I let it dry down to about a 2 on my moisture meter before I water it. The leaves are kind of growing a little different in this guy. They're kind of drooping over a little bit, but not because it's underwatered or because it's not doing well. It just seems to be growing a little different. About 2 years ago, I was struggling with this guy. Couldn't really figure it out, but once I zeroed in on the watering, and this one is also sitting in an east-facing window, so it does get lots of bright indirect light. And since it has just been putting on lots of new growth for me, and I haven't had any issues. This one can also be prone to spider mites, so I do spray this one down about once every week or 2 weeks with a soapy water mixture, and it just keeps those spider mites away. And let's see here. This one here is my oxalis. A couple of weeks ago, I noticed some aphids on this one, so we treated it. I have not seen any more aphids on it since, but I'm thinking this is also another one that I need to move away from this window because the foliage is kind of getting a little bleached out. So I'm going to find another location to put this one that maybe doesn't get as much sunlight, so that we can get that foliage to come in a little bit brighter of a purple and not so washed out. This guy up here, my Monstera deliciosa, hubby and I just recently repotted this one. You probably seen my video where I was shopping for a planter for this guy, and we ended up settling, or I ended up settling on this white ceramic planter that I absolutely love. It's gorgeous. So this guy has been doing very, very well. I'm thinking about possibly putting a moss pole in there and kind of training him to grow a little bit more upwards instead of kind of all over the place. So maybe within the next couple of weeks I'll work on that. And if we come down here, there's my little Peperomia prostrata, my string of turtles. That one's doing great. And then my Tradescantia Nanook. I love this one so much. This one's been putting on lots of new growth. I would say specifically within like the last week or so, I've noticed that a lot of new growth has been happening. So pretty. Over here, my Monstera adansonii. This is one that has continuously been getting some yellowing leaves, and not really quite sure what's going on with this one. The only thing that I can think of is maybe I fertilized it and it really didn't care for the fertilizer so much. But the yellowing started, I'd say, probably about maybe a month or a month and a half ago. I haven't been noticing so much yellowing as of late, and it is putting on some new growth, so I'm not too worried about it. I did pick up another Monstera adansonii about 2 weeks ago at Wegmans, just in case this one kind of starts to deteriorate. I have another one that I can fall back on. Last update, I think, for this rack is going to be my prayer plant. This is my red-veined Maranta. And if you guys remember, over the winter time, this guy just really started to not look so good. And then I had realized that I overwatered it. It wasn't a ceramic planter, and when I watered it, I forgot to empty out the little tray at the bottom, the attached tray. So it sat in water for God only knows how long. So it was definitely overwatered. I ended up repotting it into this terracotta planter, this smaller terracotta planter, in hopes that it would spring back. And the leaves that we have left on it are doing well. It is pushing out a new leaf right there at the top, but it is quite a bit smaller than previous leaves that this plant has had. So I'm thinking that it's still just adjusting, hopefully. But it's doing okay for now. Just want to mention my little moonshine sansevieria. I don't talk about this one too much because I never have any problems with it. I just love it. It puts on growth slowly, but it has gotten bigger, and I love it so much. This one, I never have to worry about it. I give it a little bit of water about once a month, and it's just a beautiful plant. No fuss, no hassle at all. Come over here, my Scindapsus pictus. I ended up moving this one. I had it in the opposite corner of my living room, and I figured it needed a little bit more sunshine. So I took my golden pothos and moved that to the spot that this one was previously in, and then moved this one over here. So it's getting some more sunshine, and it's looking pretty good. If we move over here, this is one of my Chinese evergreens, my Maria, that I did have in my sunroom, but I decided to bring it to the living room just so that I could enjoy it a little bit more. And since moving it out here, it has put on so much new growth. It's putting out lots of little blooms. So I think it's pretty happy. It's growing really, really well. It's gotten quite a bit bigger. It's gotten quite a bit bigger since I brought it out here. And I would say it's probably been out here for about 2 weeks now. Okay guys, that concludes part 1 of my little update video. I'll have part 2 recorded and uploaded soon. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up, and if you like the content of my videos, please consider subscribing to my channel. I love you all, and I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye guys.